Good morning, everyone. Hey, listen, I got a great stuff to share with you today. I'm going to be reading from a book called Skill with People by Les Giblin, and you can get this, a very short book. It would take you less than probably 30 minutes or less to read the book. I mean, I don't care what your reading level is or how fast you read. It's one of the best all-time books that a Primerica person could read, or anybody could read for that matter. Anybody interested in being successful. You need to read this book like once a month, really. I mean, it's really that important and that good. There's no question that a huge, significant portion of the success that I've experienced has come because I learned this information years and years ago, and I want you to learn it as well. So what we've done is we've made it available at hectorlamarque.com. You can order it. It's called Skill with People by Les Giblin. It's been revised 2010, so it's just a phenomenal book. And I'll start with his welcome. He says, skill with people is the most rewarding of all human talents. Your skill with people determines the quality of your business life, your family life, and your social life. He says the knowledge and techniques in this book will greatly increase your skill with people. So we'll go ahead and start with Human Insight number 1, and definitely need to buy this book, own this book, get this in the hands of anybody who's serious about winning in Primerica. It's really that good. How we learn. This is important to know how we learn. So if you're going to build a business, you need to know how we learn and how we retain information, which I'll speak of first. He says 83% we learn and buy. We learn and buy 83% through sight, 11% through hearing, 3.5% through smell, 1.5% through touch, and 1% through taste. So this is why quality field training is the most important and critical thing you must do to build a successful business that continues to grow and can provide security for you and your family. Because of the way that we learn, the way that the people that you recruit learn, 83% through sight, 11% through hearing, it's critical that you field train. If a person is serious about being successful, the only way they're going to be successful long range is if they have quality field training experience, okay? Number 2, how we retain information. This is really important. So when you're teaching, like I'm teaching right now, where you're hearing it. As we know, through hearing, it's 11%. That's why when you hear something, you have to hear it, like 100 times before it sinks in, because you only retain about 11% of what you hear. So this is how we retain information. 10% of what we read, we retain. 20% of what we hear, we retain. 30% of what we see, we retain. 50% of what we see and hear, we retain, okay? So seeing it and hearing it, right, is critical. This is why role play is the absolute best way to do training in your meetings. The only thing better is quality field training, okay? Because 50% of what people retain is from what they see. So if you're up there, they're seeing you present, and they're hearing you, and they're seeing you actually do the presentation or do the recruiting or do the appointment setting or whatever, they're going to retain a lot more of it. That's why talking at people doesn't work nearly as well. 70% of what we say as we talk. So when you teach somebody to do something, you say it, then you have them repeat it. You have them say it until they learn it, okay? If they can't say it exactly like you've taught it, then they haven't learned it yet. So there's a much higher, 70% of what we say as we talk, we retain, and 90% of what we say as we do a thing. So if you're trying to teach somebody how to do a presentation, it's what they say as they are doing the presentation, okay? Or if you're trying to teach them how to set appointments, it's having them actually do it, role-playing the setting of the appointment, okay? 90% retention when they say it as they do it. This is such a big deal for you. Those of you who are like, I'm so frustrated, I can't get anybody to do anything. I guarantee why you're not duplicating yourself, you're not growing your business, you're not retaining people, is because you're not training people correctly, because you're not focusing on the right things, guys. Absolutely no question about it. So insight number 3, these are the different methods of instruction, the recall 3 hours later and the recall days later. So when you're telling alone, when you're just telling people, they'll recall it 70% of it 3 hours later, 10% of it days later. If you're showing alone, right, It's 72% 3 hours later and 29% days later. And then if it's a blend of telling and showing, you're telling them and you're showing them. So when you're training, you're telling them, you're showing them how to do a presentation, how to set up appointments, how to prospect, how to do anything, how to destroy cash value policy, how to explain how a mutual fund works. It doesn't matter what it is you're teaching them, okay? How to recruit somebody, how to get them in the field, anything you're teaching, okay? If it's a blend of telling them and showing them, the recall 3 hours later is 85%, and days later it's 65%. So you can see a blend of telling and showing, which is role-playing and then teaching that way, is so important. That's why field training is so important if you really want people to retain and to get and to learn the material you're teaching them. So retention of how to do our business and keeping new recruits is contingent on quality field training and role-playing in office training, okay? When you do your office training, your meetings, it's got to be role-play, role-play, role-play. The more focused you are on those two things, the more people will stick and that'll allow you to grow. Because the reason most of you aren't growing is even if you're recruiting because you're not getting anybody to stick. The reason you're not getting anybody to stick is people aren't really learning what to do to be successful because of the way that you're training. Okay? It's all fixable, by the way. So chapter number 1, now that we know that about people, that's critical, right? Understanding people and human nature, chapter 1. The first step in increasing your skill in dealing with people, in other words, successful human relations, is to properly understand people and their nature. When you have a proper understanding of human nature and people, when you know why people do the things that they do, when you know why and how people will react under certain conditions, then and only then can you become a skillful manager of people. Understanding people and human nature simply involves recognizing people for what they are, not what you think they are, nor what you would want them to be, but for what they are. People are primarily interested in themselves, not in you. Putting the same thought another way, the other person, right, that person sitting across from you, that potential client, that potential recruit, the other person is, or friend, or associate, or golfing buddy, or whatever, okay? Let me tell you something. The other person across from you is 10,000 times more interested in themselves than in you, and vice versa. You're more interested in yourself than you are in any other person in the world. Remember that people's actions are governed by self-thought and self-interest. This trait is so strong in people that the dominant thought in charity is the satisfaction or pleasure that the giver gets from giving. Not the good gift will do, that comes second. Now that you don't have to apologize or become embarrassed in recognizing that human nature is self-interest. It has been that way from the beginning of time and will be that way till the end of time. For people were put on earth with that nature. We are all alike in this respect. And you might be saying, well, I'm not like that. Yes, you are, and yes, everyone else is too. So the sooner you acknowledge it, you realize it, you accept it, and you work from that premise, everything will get easier for you. This knowledge that people are primarily interested in themselves gives you the basis on which to work in your dealings with people. It also gives you the power and skill in your dealings with others. In subsequent chapters, you're going to see how many successful techniques spring from this understanding. It's a key of life for you to realize that people are primarily interested in themselves and not in you. They don't care about you. They don't care about what you want. They don't care about how this is going to help you. They don't care about any of that. They only care about themselves. And by the way, that's nothing wrong with that. It's just the way it is. How to skillfully talk to people. Number 2, when you're talking to people, pick out the most interesting subject in the world to them to talk about. What's the most interesting subject in the world to them? Themselves. When you talk to them about themselves, they will be deeply interested and utterly fascinated. They will think well of you for doing this. When you talk to people about themselves, you're rubbing them the right way. You're working with human nature. When you talk to people about yourself, you're rubbing them the wrong way and working against human nature. Take these 4 words out of your vocabulary: I, me, my, and mine. For those 4 words, substitute one word, the most powerful word spoken by the human tongue: you. This example, this is for you. You will benefit if you do this. This will please your family. You get both advantages. So in other words, this is for you so you can retire well, so you can have a beautiful life, so you can have less stress in your life. You will benefit if you do this. If you get involved and you allow me to teach you how to do this and you learn what you need to learn, you're going to make more money. You're going to have more freedom. You're going to be able to pay off your debt sooner. You're going to be able to do the things you really want to do. You're going to be able to send your kids to private school. You're going to be able to take those vacations you always wanted. You're going to be able to buy the home of your dreams. You're going to be able to drive the car of your dreams. You're going to be able to engage in all the leisure activities that you've always wanted to engage in. You're going to be able to whatever, okay? Whatever they want, whatever it is, you associate them getting involved, them becoming a client, with them getting what they want. You've got to always maintain that focus. The better you maintain that focus, the more people will follow your advice, get involved, buy from you, etc. Okay? This will please your family. Your family's going to be better off. They're going to be less stressed. You're going to be able to enjoy more time together. You're going to be able to, do the things for your kids that maybe your father or mother weren't able to do for you. Et cetera, et cetera. Key, if you will give up the satisfaction of you get from talking about yourself, and that you get from the use of the words I, me, mine, your personality efficiency and your influence and power will be greatly increased. Admittedly, it's hard to do. It does take practice, but the rewards make it well worth it. You have to focus on this. You got to think about this, okay? Maybe write it on your hand somewhere. I don't know, do something to get you focused on other people. Another good way of using people's interest in themselves in conversation is to get them talking about themselves. You'll find that people would rather talk about themselves than about any other subject. If you will maneuver people in talking about themselves, they will like you very much. This is done by asking them questions about themselves, such as, how's your family, John? How's Billy and Sue? What's Mary doing nowadays? What is she involved in? Anything like that. Talk about their family. How is that boy of yours in the Army coming along? Where's your married daughter living now? How long have you been with the company? Is this your hometown, Mrs. Johnson? What do you think of the the Lakers or whatever? Okay. Is that a picture of your family? Wow, they're beautiful. Did you enjoy your trip? What did you do? What did you like most about it? What would you do again? Would you go there again? Would you recommend that to other people? Did your family go with you, Mary, on that trip? Were you able to enjoy that together? Those sorts of things. Most of us are not effective on others because we keep busy thinking and talking about ourselves. The thing to remember is that it's not how you like your remarks in subject, it's how your listeners like them. So when talking to others, talk about them. Get them talking about themselves. When you go on an appointment, wow, how long have you lived in this home? This home's beautiful. Who decorated? Did you do the decorating, Mary? Wow, it's fantastic. Love that dining room table. It's beautiful. Love that couch. Love that TV. Love that. Wow, that's awesome. Where did you get that? That painting, what's the story behind that? Ask questions. Ask questions. How did you get started in your business and the job you're in now? How did you do that? What did you like about it? What do you like least about it? What would you change or alter? Ask questions about them. Ask questions, questions, questions. Questions are the answer, okay? That is how you can become a most interesting conversationalist. Number 3, how to skillfully make people feel important. The most universal trait of mankind, a trait you and everybody else has, a trait so strong that it makes people do things that they do, good and bad, is the desire to be important and the desire to be recognized. Look at all these reality shows today. Look at all of this, like Facebook. Think about Facebook, right? People put the pictures of themselves, what they're doing now. It's total narcissism, okay? There's nothing wrong with it, but that's exactly what it is. Look at me. Look at my family. Look at what we're doing. And you may not like that if you're on Facebook, but that's really what it is. Look at me. Look at the cool things I'm doing or did or what I've done. That's really the whole point of that thing, right? Letting people know, because people want to be somebody. Art Williams used to say, everybody wants to be somebody. And that is absolutely true. Everybody. He said also, picture everybody walking around. This is one of the things I learned from him that was one of the most valuable things I learned from Art Williams. He said, picture people when they're walking out, they have a neon sign flashing on their chest that says, make me feel good, make me feel special. If you look at every human being that you interact with and you just visualize, they have a neon sign on their chest flashing, make me feel good, make me feel special. If you operate from that premise and you give them what they want, getting what you want becomes very easy. The problem is most people don't do this. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about what they're going to say. And they're not listening. They're totally self-absorbed, okay? To be skillful in human relations, be sure to make people feel important. Remember that the more important you make people feel, the more they will respond to you. This is your teammates. This is your upline. This is your downline. This is your wife. This is your children. This is the waiter, the waitress. This is the bellboy. This is the salesperson. This is everybody, okay? Everybody. If you get in the habit of doing this with every human interaction you ever have, your life will get so fun and easy you can't believe it, okay? Everybody wants to be treated as somebody. This is the basis for the Asian habit of saving face. Nobody wants to be treated as a nobody. When they are ignored or talked down to, they are being treated as just that. Keep in mind that to the other person, they're just as important to themselves as you are to yourself. The use of this trait is one of the cornerstones of successful human relations. Some tips on how to recognize people and make them feel important. Listen to them. You've got to listen to people. When you're talking, listen to them. Listen to people is just about the best way to make them feel important. Failure to listen to them makes them feel unimportant. Applaud and compliment them when they deserve it. It must be sincere, no question. You can't make stuff up, okay? They'll see right through that. Recognition and appreciation are basic human needs. Anytime anybody does anything that's positive, moving in the right direction, you need to recognize. You need to point it out. You need to say something about that. Use their names as often as possible. Call people by their names, and they will like you. It's much better to say, good morning, John and Mary, than to say good morning. Pause before you answer them. This gives the impression that you have thought over what they've said, and it was worthy of thinking over. Use the words you and your. Remember, avoid I, me, and mine. You and your make them the important ones, okay? Acknowledge people who are waiting to see you. If they have to wait, let them know they are waiting, that you know they're waiting. This is really treating them as somebody. For example, this happens to me all the time, especially when if I speak in a group or something and I'm talking to somebody who's asking me questions, and I can see people that are right next to them, behind them, they're wanting to talk to me or they're wanting to take a picture or something like that, right? And I'll say, I'll be right. And I always make it a point to acknowledge them. Hi, how are you? I'll be right with you as soon as I'm done here. And I just make eye contact quickly, acknowledge them, let them know I know they're there. They're not just nobody. And then I go back to my conversation or whatever. But always acknowledge people, okay? Let them know that they're important. Pay attention to everybody in a group. A group is more important than one, not just a leader or a spokesperson. How to skillfully agree with people. 4, just about the single most important step you can take to being skillful in human relations is for you to master the art of being agreeable. Truly, this is one of the gems of wisdom of our time. Probably nothing will help you so much in your lifetime as this easy-to-do technique of being agreeable. As long as you live, never forget that any fool can disagree with people. It takes a wise person, a shrewd person, a big person to agree, particularly when the other person is wrong. So, people are always arguing. They always want to be right. How do you feel about those people? You can't stand them, really. You don't even want to be around them, right? You don't want to be those people. The art of being agreeable has 6 parts. 1, learn to be agreeable to agree with people. Get yourself into a frame of mind, an attitude of being agreeable. Develop an agreeable nature. Be naturally agreeable, a naturally agreeable person. Number 2, tell people when you agree with them. It's not enough to be agreeable with people. Let people know that you agree with them. Nod your head yes, look at them when you do it, and say to them, you know what, John, I agree with you. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. I know I agree with you. That's what I felt. But let me tell you what I found out. So somebody has something, about anything about, Primerica wasn't doesn't work, or it's a pyramid, or whatever they would say. I would say, I agree with you. That's what I felt too before I found out. But let me tell you what I found out about it. This is one of the most incredible businesses on earth. It helps people get completely debt-free, financially independent. People that work this business and get good at it, man. We have more people making over $100,000 a year than any company in the country. We have more people making over $1 million a year than any other country that I'm aware of in the country. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just a success factory. It's a phenomenal business, right? So you just say, I know. I agree with you. That's what I felt before I found this out. Let me tell you what I found out. That's one of the ways you can do that without becoming disagreeable. Do not tell people when you disagree with them unless it's absolutely necessary. If you can't agree with people, and many times you can't, then just don't agree with them unless it's absolutely disagree with them unless it's absolutely necessary. You'll be amazed at how seldom this will be, right? Number 4, admit when you're wrong. Whenever you're wrong, say out loud, I made a mistake, I was wrong. Especially with your wife or your husband, I guarantee you want to have your relationship work better. When you're wrong, you need to say it. You're right, I was wrong about that. I apologize. You were right. You can't believe how that'll help your relationships improve. It takes a big person to do this, and people admire anyone who can do it. The average person will lie, deny, or alibi rather than say, I was wrong. Refrain from arguing. Number 5, the poorest technique known in human relations is arguing. Even if you're right, don't argue. Look, this friend of mine told me this year that you can be right or you can be rich. This is a friend of mine who's a very, very successful real estate agent in L.A. He deals in big, high-end homes, and he's super successful. Okay, and we were looking at a piece of property yesterday in Pasadena. And we were just talking, and we talked for probably an hour and a half just because we hadn't seen each other for a while, and we were just talking about things, and we were talking about difficult people or difficult clients and all that sort of thing, which of course you're going to have. And he says, I in the beginning I used to want to be right, and I argue with them or I'd fight with them, and I figured out that doesn't work. So now I tell all his agents that work for him, people that work for him, says you can be right or you can be rich. And those of you who want to be right, good luck. You're going to you might be right, but you're going to struggle like crazy. You're going to alienate people left and right, okay? Nobody wins arguments or friends by arguing. Nobody. Handle fighters properly. Fighters want one thing, a fight. If he wants to argue with you and somebody wants to fight with you, right? The best technique to handle them is to refuse to fight with them, and they will sputter, fume, and then look silly. This used to happen when I was in the jewelry business. I'd have an upset client come in, maybe a chain broke or their watch wasn't working or a diamond fell out of the ring or whatever, and they come in and they're looking for a fight, right, because they think I'm going to fight with them. So I say, look, and then I need to talk to the manager, and I'd sit them down and I would say, whatever their name is, John and Mary. I say, John and Mary, look, before we start, can I just let you know something? I just want you to know that before you walk out of here, you're going to be happy. I'm going to make you happy. I'm going to make things right. I want you to know that, okay? All right, so tell me what the problem is. And that's how I would start every conversation, just like that, okay? And what would happen, it would diffuse the situation. People would calm down. Their whole thing is they think they're going to get a fight with you about getting something fixed, and I just let them know before it even started that was not an issue. All I wanted to do was help them, and then everything was easy from then. And then what it would end up happening, I would end up turning many of those situations into more sales because they liked me, and they felt good, and they felt honored. And that's what you've got to do with people. How you deal with people, folks, is going to just, if you learn how to do this stuff that's in this book and you really learn it, your life will change. I promise you. I guarantee you'll have unbelievable success. You'll have people following you and doing things and helping you like you can't believe. That's one of the reasons I've had so much success is I learned this stuff years ago and I actually implemented it in my life, in my business, okay? The art of being agreeable. People like those who agree with them. People dislike those who disagree with them, and people don't like being disagreed with. Number 5, Chapter 5, how to skillfully listen to people. Look, the more listening you do, the smarter you'll become, the better you'll be liked, and the better conversationalist you will be. A good listener always winds up far ahead of a good talker in the affections of people. This is because a good listener always allows people to hear their favorite speaker themselves. There are few things in life which help you more than becoming a good listener. However, being a good listener is not an accident. There are 5 rules which make a good listener. Number 1, look at the person who's talking. Listen with your eyes as well as your ears. Keep looking as long as they're talking. Anybody worth listening to is worth looking at. Number 2, lean toward the speaker. Listen intently. Appear as if you don't want to miss a single word. There is a tendency to lean toward the interesting talker and away from the not-so-interesting one. So when you're on an appointment, lean forward. When they're talking, listen. Look at them. Watch their eyes. Pay close attention. You honor people when you do that. Ask questions. This lets the person know who's talking, know that you're listening to them. Asking questions is the highest form of flattery. Questions can be as simple as, what happened then? Then what did you do? How did you feel about that? What would you have done in that particular situation? That sort of thing, okay? Stick to the speaker's subject and don't interrupt. Don't change subjects on a person until they're finished, no matter how anxious you are to get started on a new one. Use the speaker's words you and your. If you use I, me, my, or mine, you are switching the focus from the speaker to yourself. That is talking, not listening. These 5 rules are nothing more than courtesy. Never will courtesy pay off for you so much as it will in listening. Number 6, chapter 6, how to skillfully influence people. Can you see how short these little chapters are? You can read this thing fast, folks, and you can read it over and over. If I were you, I would probably read this, maybe once a day for like 21 days to really get this information down, because this is going to be one of the most important things to your future success of anything you can do, okay? Number 6, the first big step to getting people to do what you want them to do is to find out what will make them do it. In other words, what do they want? Because that's what's going to get people to do anything. What do they want? When you know what will move them, you then know how to move them. That's why that thing I did that one day, I created, how to ask people what their goals and dreams are and what they want, what kind of income, where they want to live, what they want to drive, if they want to educate their kids. All those questions are designed to find out what the potential client, what the potential recruit wants. I always wanted to know what they wanted, because once I knew what they wanted, then I can organize my presentation in a way that accentuates those very things that they want. I can point those things out and make them relevant to them, okay, as opposed to me sharing information that I think they might want. If I ask questions and I find out what they want, then I can organize my presentation, customize it to them, to their particular wants, needs, ambitions, goals, and dreams, okay? All of us are different. We like different things. We place different values on different things. Don't make the mistake of assuming that other people like what you like or are after what you're after. In most cases, probably 90%, they're not. They want something a little different. Okay, there might be some similarities, but everybody's unique. Everybody has different goals and desires. If that weren't true, there wouldn't be so many different styles of clothing, so many different styles of cars or automobiles, so many different kinds of movies, so many different kinds of books, so many different kinds of everything, okay? Why is that? Because there's so many, everybody likes something different. And to think that you look at it, or you see it, or you hear it, or you watch it and go, oh, that's horrible. Another person goes, I love it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So you don't want to project your likes and dislikes onto people, all right? Find out what they're after, okay? Find out how, ask questions. Then you can move them by telling them what they want to hear. You simply show them how they can get what they want by doing what you want them to do, right? So in other words, if they want to educate their kids, they want to live in a better home, they want to have more freedom in their life, they want to have more security, whatever they want, then I can customize presentation to show them how they can get that thing. I'll give you a perfect example. When I recruited Gary and Linda McCrumman, because he tells this story all the time, but this is exactly what I did. This was years, and this is 20 years ago plus, okay? It was 1986, so it was more than 20 years ago. Whew, time flies. But bottom line, Gary is a toy hound, okay? In other words, what he loves, fast cars and boats and jet skis and dune buggies, and he loves all that kind of stuff, right? He loves all kinds of big, fast toys. Now, Linda, his wife, she is big time into security. being secure, having money, saving money, not worrying about money, all that, right? So one day I'm helping them, clean their boat. They're washing their boat, so I'm helping them. And I'm talking to them, and one end of the, one's on one end of the boat, the other's on the other end. So I'm talking to Gary. I'm telling him, man, this Primerica business, man. And you can see, when I have get-togethers, all the incredible cars. I mean, you can have a car, you can have a place at the river, you can have a fast boat, you can have everything you want. And I'm telling you, this, if you get involved and you let me teach you how to do this thing, you can have all the toys that you ever dreamed about having. You can have them. And I'm telling you, it should be awesome. And by the way, he did get all those things through getting involved with me. I not only told him he could do it, I helped him deliver on all those things. And then I'm telling Linda, I'm saying, Linda, man, one of the greatest things, we're so much into saving and being debt-free and getting secure financially, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. I'm going to show you how to pay your houses off. I'm going to show you how to get where you want to go so you can have freedom in your life and all that. And that's what she wanted. So I sold her that. And the beautiful thing about Primerica, they both got what they wanted. Today, they're both debt-free. They're multimillionaires. He has all the toys you could dream of, right, and want, and they are debt-free and financially independent. So the key is finding out what people want, especially when you're trying to recruit them, especially when you're trying to make them clients, and then you show them how they can get that through your association with you and their involvement either as a client, as a recruit, or both. In Primerica, your ability to do that is going to determine more than any other thing getting people to move forward and do stuff with you, okay? This is the big secret of influencing people. It means hitting the target with what you say, but naturally you must know where the target is. An example of putting this principle to work, let's assume you are an employer and you're trying to get an engineer to come to work for you. You know that several other companies have offered this person a position. Applying this principle, find out what people want. You would first determine just what in a position and company the engineer was looking for and what appealed to the person most. And you can ask those questions about the Primerica opportunity as well. If you found out that it was advancement opportunity, you would show how much advancement opportunity you had to offer. You can show people how they can move up the ladder in Primerica, etc. If the candidate was after security, like Linda was, you can talk about security. You can get financially independent. We teach how to get debt-free, teach you how to get a plan. We teach you how to retire 5, 10, 15 years sooner. I mean, all that sort of thing. If further education experience was important, you would talk about that. Like if you want to learn more, our business is an unbelievable personal development program, learning opportunity with an amazing compensation package attached to it. I used to tell people that all the time, okay? The point is that you would find out what the engineer wanted, and then you would show how the candidate could get what they or he or she was after by doing what you wanted, which is joining, buying, doing business with you, getting involved in business with you, okay? Coming to work with you. To make this principle work from the opposite position, let's assume you're applying for a job you want very much. You would first find out the abilities, duties, and responsibilities needed so that you could show them, much the employer, that you could fill their needs. If they need a person to handle customers over the phone, you would mention that you could or had handled customers over the phone. After they knew what they were looking for, you could talk language they wanted to hear. The method of finding out what people want is used by asking, watching, and listening to them, plus the effort on your part to find out. Chapter 7. It's human nature for people to be skeptical of you and what you say and when you're saying things that are to your own advantage. You can eliminate much of the skepticism when you make your self-serving statements that are to your own interest by going at it a different way. The better way is for you not to make the statement directly, but to quote somebody. Let somebody else make the statement for you, even if somebody else isn't present. If you are asked if the product you sell will last a long time, you might answer, my next-door neighbor has used one for 4 years and it's in good condition. In effect, your next-door neighbor is the answer. The question is answering the question for you, even though he or she isn't around. If you're applying for a position and the prospective employer wonder if you could do the work, you would mention how well pleased your past employers have been. If you're trying to rent your apartment and the people you were trying to rent to wondered if it was quiet, you would mention that past tenants remarked how quiet the apartment was. Now, in all these examples, you do not answer the inquiry or question. Your next-door neighbor, your part-time employer, your past tenants do the answering for you, right? Or you can do the same thing with people in the business, right? This person who was a school teacher just like you ended up becoming a multimillionaire, right? Like, whoever those persons are. There's tons of them in the business you could mention. Can't think of one off the the top of my head. Bobby Weeson, school teacher, basketball coach, right? This guy was just like you. He got involved and did it part-time just like I'm asking you to do, and today he's a multimillionaire or whatever, right? Makes $3 million a year, $4 million a year. The people you're talking to will be more impressed than if you were to answer. It's an odd thing, but people won't have the slightest doubt that what you're telling them indirectly is true, yet they will be highly skeptical if you say it because you have an agenda. You're trying to sell them. You're trying to get them involved, whatever. So if it's you saying it, they don't trust it. If somebody else says it, of course, now it brings trust, right? So speak through third persons. Quote people, relate success stories, cite facts and statistics, show them articles of other people that have done that, right? Like if you're trying to destroy cash value, show them 2 or 3 articles of why cash value is bad. If you're trying to, tell them about the success of people in Primerica, right? There's plenty of stuff that you can pull up on success stories in Primerica. Or if they're asking you about, will this work for me? Let me show you some of my past clients. Have summaries of the success clients you have that have, maybe you replace a cash value policy that they were spending, $200 a month on for $100,000, and now you're giving them $500,000 for, $89 a month, and you're investing the difference in a mutual fund, or they are investing this way, and when they, I just got an email from one of my people in my business, Joe Colosimo, who invested $2.4 million for a client, and he just called him the other day, and the client hasn't put any more money into his account, and it's just been a short time. I think it's like less than 2 years. I can't remember. It's just a great kind of thing to share with people. That client now, in the short couple of years, their account value has gone up $400,000. So they've made $400,000 in the last couple of years and haven't added a dime to their account. I mean, that's unbelievable stuff. Sharing that kind of information with people, of course, letting them know that that's not always going to happen, but this is the potentiality of our business, okay? So summaries of client successes, I would always share. Obviously, if you're going to share a name, you have to get permission from the client and whatnot, but no, you don't need to put the client's name in there. You could just say, this is a client of mine, this is another client of mine, this is the kind of things that we do. If you got involved with us, this is the kinds of things you would be doing for people. This is the kind of impact you would be having on people. It's phenomenal, right? How to skillfully make up people's minds. There are, chapter 8, there's more involved in getting people to say yes than luck, guesswork, or their whim. Those skilled in human relations have several techniques and methods which greatly increase the chances of people saying yes to them. Getting them to say yes simply means getting them to do what you want them to do, right? Which is join, buy, give you referrals. Here are 4 good methods. Give people reasons to say yes to you. Everything in this world is done for a reason. So when you want somebody to do something, give them a reason as to why they should do it. You could retire 10 years sooner. You could send your kids to private school. You can make the kind of income you want to make. You could make 10 times what you're making right now. You can, right? What do they want? Give them reasons to say yes. However, be sure the reasons you give them are their reasons, meaning reasons that are to their advantage and their benefit and things they've told you they want through your asking questions. The wrong way would for you to give reasons that would be to your advantage or your benefit. In short, tell people how they will benefit by doing what you want them to do, not how you benefit. Everything has to be about them and why they're going to win and what they're going to get out of it. What are they going to get out of this joining Primerica and coming to meetings and setting up appointments and all that? What are they going to get? They're going to get freedom. They're going to get paid all their debt off. They're going to have unlimited income potential. They're going to be able to travel. They're going to be able to buy the car they want, live in the home they want. They're going to get what they want, okay, whatever that is. Maybe some people it's charity. They want to give. They have a charity that they want to do missionary work or whatever. But it takes money to do missionary work, right? Everybody that I know that does missionary work is always hitting me up for money, so they need money. Okay, so in short, tell people how they'll benefit. 2, ask yes questions. When you're trying to get people to say yes to you, first get them into a yes frame of mind. This is done by asking them 2 or 3 yes questions. Example, John and Mary, you want your family to be happy, don't you? You want your family to be financially protected if something were happening to you, don't you? You want the best value for your money, right? If you're going to invest money, you want to get the most for your money, the biggest bang for your buck. You want it to stretch as far as it possibly can. A yes question is a question that can only be answered with a yes. So you ask questions that there's no other answer but yes, that you know the answer in advance, okay? This is where Hopkins comes in, learning how to ask questions, right?
The more you listen to my Overcoming Objections CD that I have at HectorLamarque.com, listen to that over and over, you'll see that what I do is I get yes momentum going through that. You know, you start hearing that, and you start learning how to ask questions in a way that gets people saying yes, yes, yes. You're nodding your head. You have the right kind of body language. The idea behind yes questions is that if you get people into a yes frame of mind, it makes it more probable that they will say yes to you. Be sure, however, to ask yes questions properly. Nod your head while you're asking the question, like up and down yes, and begin the question with the word you. You want the best product, don't you? You want to have a plan that allows you to be debt-free and financially independent, don't you? You do want a secure future, don't you? Nodding your head. You do want an opportunity that allows you to earn exactly the amount you want to, right? It has no limitations on the upside. Give people a choice between two yeses. This simply means getting people to choose between saying yes to you one way or saying yes to you another way. Either way they choose, they're saying yes to you, which is basically alternative choice. Do you want to retire 5 years or 10 years sooner? Is it highly preferable not to give them a choice between a yes and a no, which happens when you ask them to do something? Yes means they'll do it, no means they won't do it. The skill is to have them choose between doing what you want one way or the other. If you want an appointment with Mr. Smith, you might, for example, say, would this afternoon be satisfactory, Mr. Smith, or would you prefer tomorrow morning or afternoon? You're giving them a choice of times to see you, a choice of yeses, right? So not say, do you want to see me or not, yes or no. No, you don't do that. That's ridiculous, okay? The least effective way to ask for an appointment, this way you are giving him a choice between yes, you can have an appointment, and no, you can't have an appointment. Do you want the black or do you want the white? Rather, do you want one of these? Which would you prefer, the black or the white? So do you want to start work tomorrow or Tuesday? Rather, do you want to start work? Do you want this charged or do you want to pay cash? Rather than do you want this? This method won't work every time, but it will work a good deal of the time. It will work far better than giving people a choice between saying yes and no. Expect people to say yes to you. Let them know they are expected to say yes. When you expect people to say yes to you, that is confidence. However, this goes one step further than confidence. You let them know and definitely give them the impression that they're expected to say yes. Almost all people start off in neutral and can be led. Many never doubt or waver doing what you want once you let them know it's expected of them. This is excellent psychology and will be easy for you to practice after the first few successes. So when you have done the proper preparation and you're 100% certain that what you're offering is good for them and will improve upon their current situation, you could and should be totally assumptive about them moving forward, either buying, joining your business, or both, right? So this is important, folks, that when you get to that place, when you've done the preparation and you believe in what you do, right, you need to be more assumptive. Why would somebody not want to have a plan that would allow them in a much organized, short order, allow them to become debt-free and financially independent, have more choices and options in their life, have more freedom, have less stress? Who in their right mind would not want to do that if they understood it and they believed that it could do that for them? Okay, so then you need to be assumptive. Who, if they were looking for an opportunity, if or were frustrated with their present situation, their present job, their present promotional opportunities in their job, they're just frustrated, who would not be open to an opportunity like ours if they felt like they could get trained properly and have success at it and maybe double or triple or quadruple or 10 times their income, okay, like a lot of us have done? Look, I was making $50,000 a year, $55,000 a year when I joined, folks. You know, I've made as much as $4 million a year in Primerica. So I mean, that's a, I don't know how many times that is. It's almost 100 times, 80 times what I was making before. So, folks, you can definitely make 5, 10 times what you were making at your previous job if you learn how to do this business. Who would not want to do that if they were motivated to do it? Now I understand not everyone's motivated to do that. But if they were motivated, right, now your job is to go through the numbers and find the motivated ones and then to make a compelling argument, right, really show them how they can get what they want through their involvement in our business. That's your job to do that, right? That's how you do it. That's your job to do that. But if you do that, who would not want to? Why would you not be assumptive that somebody, if presented this thing properly, would not want to get involved. I assumed everybody would want to do this business. I assumed everybody would want to be a client of mine. Why would they not want to? Because I would present it in such a fashion that they would go, holy cow, I wanted people to say to me, I would be nuts not to get involved in your business. I would be nuts not to become a client of yours. I would make such a compelling argument of what a great job we do, what an amazing company we are, how we can help our clients, what we do for them. We have so many tools now. That's why the F&A is such an important thing. You have multiple tools to help people get to where they want to get financially. And then if they're open to it and they have some motivation level in their body, right, they want to do something, why wouldn't they be involved in the business and start this part-time with no risk and the opportunity to potentially make 100, 200, 500 million bucks a year or more? The potential's there. Now, they may or may not do that, but the potential is absolutely 100% there. There's no reason why any of you couldn't make $1 million a year here or more if you got good enough. The only reason you don't make $1 million a year is you're not good enough to make $1 million a year, or you don't work. You lack work ethic and you lack self-discipline. And maybe your people skills aren't very good, which now we have an answer for your people skills, okay? Get the book. Read the book over and over and over again. But you can do that, all right? Chapter 9, how to skillfully set people's moods. You can make 9 out of 10 people like you immediately. How good is that, right? If you can make 9 out of 10 people you meet like you immediately, if you had the ability, the skill to do that, how much more effective would you be? How much easier would it be to prospect, to close sales, to recruit people, to basically to get what you want, okay? You can make 9 out of 10 people courteous, cooperative, and friendly in 1 second with the same magic. And here's how. Number 1, remember that the first few seconds of any relationship usually sets the tone and the spirit of it from that point on. So however that first 5, 10, 15, 20 seconds goes is going to set the tone of that relationship. It's going to give people a feeling about who you are, about whether they want to have anything more to do with you or they want to pursue the relationship or whatever. All that's so critical in that first few seconds. Number 2, you need to utilize the second basic law of human behavior. People strongly tend to respond in kind to the behavior of other people. Let's shorten it to this. People respond in kind. In other words, however you are to them, they'll then respond in kind. They will do the same thing to you. They'll react the same way to you. So if you have a scowl on your face when you meet them, well, then you're going to scowl back. If you have a smile on your face and you're open and you just come across in a really positive way, then you're going to get that as well. Okay, just like when you're walking, like if I'm walking and I see a stranger coming my way and I smile at him, I nod my head, hi, how are you today? I always get that back, right? And every now and then, you might get somebody who's having a bad day, or they just got in a fight with their partner or spouse, or they're really in a situation that's not good for them, and they may react, not respond. But that's very, very rare. That's going to happen. In the vast majority of cases, you're going to have people respond in kind to you. So in the first second, that instant when you first establish eye contact, before you say anything and before you break silence, give people your sincere smile. Keyword sincere smile. This is a lot easier to do if you actually like people, okay? Some people just don't like people, right? And they don't want to be bothered, or they just don't have a good way about people. But I'm assuming if you're in the people business, right? We're in the people business. You got to like people, or you're going to really struggle with this business, okay? You've got to enjoy talking to people, enjoy being around people. You've got to like that, or this will be a long road to hoe, okay? So you've got to make sure you do that. Okay, so what will happen? They'll respond in kind, and they'll return your smile and be pleasant to you just like you're pleasant to them. In every human relations act, a dealing between two persons, there's an atmosphere, there's a mood, there's a stage set. The skill here is for you to set the atmosphere, the mood, and the stage. Either you or the other person will set it. If you're wise, you'll set it to your own advantage, and that's why it's so important that you control that. You can't leave it up to other people. One of the key things is you can't risk them setting the stage because they probably aren't trained as you are in skill with people. So now, after you've listened to these 2 audio sessions, and maybe you bought the book and you've read the book multiple times, and you have all this down, skill with people, the 99% of the people you meet aren't going to have this information. They're not going to know this information. They're going to be less aware about skill with people than you, so therefore it's imperative that you set the stage, okay? One of the tragic facts of human relations is the failure of people to realize that what they put out to other people, they get right back from them. So a lot of people don't know this, okay? So if you put out sunshine to people, sunshine will come back from them. Put out a blizzard to them, and a blizzard you'll get back. So it's like kind of like you're in a restaurant and the food doesn't come out right, okay? Maybe the food you ordered a specific way that you wanted things to happen, and it just didn't come out that way because they didn't write it down, or they forgot, or the kitchen messed it up, or whatever. It doesn't really matter what the reason is. So the person, the waiter comes back to the table, and you say, "You got this wrong. I told you I wanted it this way, or I told you I wanted the dressing on the side. Didn't you hear me?" I mean, now think about what you're going to get back from that person, okay? When they take that back to the kitchen, probably going to spit in it, all right? Hopefully not, but I mean, it doesn't make sense to do that. Instead, there's a different way you can do it. Say, "Listen, you may have misheard me, or I may have misstated what I wanted, but I asked for this without the dressing on. Would you mind taking this back and getting me a salad with the dressing on the side, please? Thank you very much." That's a completely different way of responding to a similar situation or the same situation, which is going to get you better service, which is going to move the meal along in a friendly way. I mean, think about it. Think about every interaction you have with people. How you respond is what you get in kind. It's very important you understand this. The key lies in the timing. The smile should come before you break silence. So when you first see them, before anything you say anything, that smile should happen. This sets the stage in a warm, friendly mood. Your tone of voice, facial expressions are important, for they reveal your inner thoughts. So your tone, how you say it, and then your body language, it's critical to that whole beginning of a relationship. It's critical. Don't forget to start your smile the same way the professional entertainers do and models do, by saying the one word to yourself, cheese. Cheese, it works, okay? It does. Kind of corny, but it does. Okay, Chapter 10, how to skillfully praise people. This is really a huge thing. I mean, if you're going to build a sales force, or you're going to get people to want to assist you in whatever project you have, whatever endeavor, whatever business you have, and whatever you want, okay, you want people helping you. The key thing is you want advocates. You always want people, speaking highly of you, because even if you don't get somebody to do business with you or whatever, that interaction you have with them is going to go forward. So if it's a positive interaction and they meet other people who may do business with you, they're going to talk about you if your name comes up in a positive way. So then that enhances the opportunity you have to do business with the next person. But if you're an idiot, right, if you're rude, you're obnoxious, you're short, you're curt, you're whatever, right, you're just smug, whatever the thing is, that's not going to help you. It's not going to help you go where you want to go and develop what you want to develop, because you can't get anywhere in life without the help of other people. There's no islands, okay? Everybody needs help. Everybody needs advocates. Everybody needs people on their side. There's nothing, bad news travels fast. Good news doesn't travel as fast, but it does travel, okay? And you want everybody speaking about you in a positive way. So the key here is sincerity. You must be sincere. You can't be a phony baloney and just say stuff. People can tell if you're not, authentic. They can tell that. So people do not live on bread alone, folks. There's a couple of things you can read. Pushing Up People by Art Williams. Phenomenal book, especially in our business or any business. Pushing Up People. It's a great book to teach you the principles of what he did to build this gigantic 200,000 person sales force, which is what he did from 1977 to 97 to 2004, something like that. He built, it was actually sooner than that, 1977 to 84. I'm sorry about that. To 84, he went from 77 people all the way to 200,000 agents. I mean, to build a sales force that fast, you've got to get people wanting to be around you. You've got to get people to like you. And he was a genius at pushing up people. So he wrote a book about pushing up people, Art Williams. The other book that I read, and there's many more, you should look this up and see, just Google, how to praise people. And I bet you there's probably 50 books on the subject. But How to Win Friends and Influence People by Norman Vincent Peale, classic book. same, still works the same today as it did back then, right? A book was written, I don't know, 50, 60 years ago, but still a fabulous book. Look, people need food for the spirit as well as for the body. Remember how you felt or how you feel when a kind word or a compliment is given you. When somebody said, "Hey, you look fantastic. You look, I love what you did when you did that talk. I mean, you really impacted me in a positive way." Or, the other day I was, like I mentioned in the last call, I was talking to my friend Laurent, and one of the things that came up, he says, "I wanted to tell you guys that, our friendship, I mean, has really helped me a lot. A lot of the things we've talked about that you've told me have really made a big difference in my life." And I didn't know that, but it made me feel really good that I had shared some information with him that was helpful to him, and he acknowledged it, and it was really great. I mean, obviously I remembered it was happened a week ago, and it was a great thing. So every time someone compliments us, right, we don't forget that. So remember how your whole day or evening is brightened up by that kind word or that compliment. Remember how long the good feeling lasts? Well, others are going to react just as you do, exactly the same way. So say the kind word or things that people want to hear. They will love you for saying kind things, and you will feel good for having said them. And so what happens when you do that, and you get the habit of looking for what's right with people. One of the things that I've always done is when I meet people, I'm looking for things that are right with them. Obviously, there's always things that are wrong with us, with everybody, right? But I don't look for that. I look for what can I, let them know that I think's great, about them or about something they've done, or but it's got to be sincere, right? And so I'm always doing that, especially when I meet people for the first time. I want to ask lots of questions. I want to somehow look for things that I can compliment them on. I mean, I do that. And I don't make stuff up. If it's not there, I don't say anything. But if it's there, I want to say it. Like when you see something in somebody that you admire, it's important that you learn the habit of saying it to them, not just thinking it, but saying it. The more you can get yourself to say those things to people, the more you're going to influence them and help them grow, and them help you grow, okay? So you must always look really hard to find something to compliment people. And I think that's one of the things that I've really, really worked on over the years. And and again, it must be sincere. You can't make it up. But if it's there, make sure you mention it. Okay? Be generous with your praise. Be generous with your praise. Look for somebody and something to praise, and then do it. But the praise, again, must be sincere. If it isn't sincere, don't give it, because it doesn't work. Praise the act, not the person. Just like if you're going to criticize somebody, criticize the act, not the person. Not you're an idiot, why'd you do that? But when you did that, this might be a better way to maybe approach that subject. Okay, to do this I would have done it this way, or something like that. But don't attack the person. Attack the behavior, or not attack, but criticize the behavior. It's probably the wrong word. And the same thing is true. You praise the act, not the person. So some examples. Praising the act avoids embarrassment and confusion. It has a much more sincere ring to it. It avoids charges of favoritism, and it creates an incentive for more of the same act. So you're going to get more of what you praise. So whatever you praise, whatever you acknowledge, whatever you reward, you get more of it, okay? So example, John, your work this past year has been truly excellent. Rather than, John, you're a good man. Right, so like somebody does a great talk, maybe on a training meeting. Somebody just does an exceptional job, or does anything good in the training. After you might say, "Hey, John, that was awesome. The way that you were so clear today when you were speaking on that subject. The clarity was fantastic, and then your body language, your demeanor, your passion on the subject was really, really good. You had very high energy. I love the way that you did that. Man, great job, buddy." That's the way to praise the person and let them know whatever they did right, let them know that, okay? Example number two, Mary, you did a splendid job on the year-end reports, right? Instead of, Mary, you're a good worker, you're a great worker. That's not specific, and it's not speaking to the very thing that she did, especially when you want them to repeat that behavior, okay? So on the next report, They know you told them that they did a great job on that particular report. They're going to want to do that again. Same thing when they're speaking and they're training. They're going to really focus on being clear, on being passionate, on having good body language. They're going to repeat, or at least they're going to attempt to repeat what they did that first time that you pointed out so specifically. Number 3, Mr. Smith, your lawn and landscaping is simply beautiful. I mean, who does that? Did you design that the way that you have that your front yard there? That everything, the flowers, the lawn. I mean, it's just awesome, incredible, right? Instead of Mr. Smith, you're a hard worker, right? That doesn't tell them anything. So these are just examples of the way that you can do that. Make the praise specific, pinpoint it, okay? Especially if you want that behavior repeated. Happiness formula. Get in the habit of saying daily one kind thing to at least 3 different people. Then see how you feel after you've done it. I mean, just get in the habit. Some of you may not be in this habit. Maybe you never had anybody do this to you so maybe your parents they didn't praise you a lot, so you don't really know how to do it, or it doesn't feel comfortable for you, or whatever. But you need to get in the habit of doing it if you want to grow, okay? This is a happiness formula for you. When you see the happiness, gratitude, and pleasure you create by doing this, you'll feel good, and there's more joy in giving than in receiving. I mean, there really is, there's joy in both, believe me, okay? But there's really helping people, moving people, inspiring people is an amazing way to live your life, to have that be part of the way that you operate your life. Number 11, how to skillfully critique people. We talked about that a little. The key to successful critiques lies in the spirit of the critiques. If you critique mostly to tell the other person off, or to give them a piece of your mind, or to put them in their place, then you'll get nothing from the critique other than the satisfaction of venting your spleen and the other person's complete resentment of you, for nobody enjoys being critiqued, okay? However, if you're interested in corrective action, in other words, getting people to change their behavior, right, in the right way, and results, you can accomplish much with your critique. If you go at it in the right way, there are some rules which will help you do just that. The 7 musts for successful criticism. Number 1, criticism should be made in absolute privacy. You don't want to have, if you're going to do it, take people aside, go in an office, or go somewhere where nobody else is hearing the criticism, where the person might be embarrassed, okay? There should be no open doors. No raising of the voice, nobody listening. There shouldn't. If you're agitated when you're going to do the critique, wait. Do it later till you calm down and you're not, upset. Because when you're upset and you're emotional, you're going to say things and you're going to do it in a way that's not going to be constructive. Preface criticism with a kind word or compliment. Create a friendly atmosphere. Soften the blow. Kiss them before you kick them. You might point out what they've done right. By the way, you're doing a great job in this and this and this. But I wanted to share with you something that I thought could really help you explode your business, do much better, get people to do more, and to help you grow your business. Would you mind if I shared that with you? That's a better way to do it than just beating them over the head, okay? Make the criticism impersonal. Criticize the act, not the person, like I mentioned previously. It is the act that should be criticized rather than the person. Number 4, supply the answer. The answer means the right way. When you tell somebody what they're doing wrong, you should also tell them how to do it right. So you should role play how to handle that. Like if I was telling somebody how to do anything, right, I'd say, this is the way that you did this, and I think that there's a better way where you could it'd be more effective, more clear, and people would get what you're trying to do, and I think you'd get better results over the long haul. And I'm assuming that you're really open to finding out how to get better results, because I know you want to be successful. Am I right in assuming that? They're going to say yes, okay. So then this is the way I would do it, and then you role play how you would do it instead of just beating them up again, okay. Number 5, ask for cooperation. Don't demand it. It is a fact that you'll get more cooperation from people if you ask them for it rather than if you demand it. Like for me personally, I don't like being told what to do, and I don't think any of you do either, okay? So I don't like it at all. I don't mind if someone asks me, Hector, would you mind doing this, or could you do this? Would you be open to doing this? That's fine. You can ask me. I might say no, but asking me is fine. But if you say, Hector, I want you to do this, you must do this, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to say, what? Are you kidding me? I'm not going to do that. My first inclination is to fight with you, to stop, to say, no, there's no way I'm doing that, right? But if you ask me, especially you ask me the correct way, yeah, I'm much more likely to do that. And I'm sure that's true for you as well. So it's critical that you ask for cooperation. You don't demand it. And demanding is a last resort measure. I mean, and by the way, in our business, our salespeople they're not our employees. They don't work for us. We don't pay them. They get paid directly by the company. So you can't demand anything. They're not your employees. They're people that you're attempting to help and to grow, and you're leading them and whatnot, and you're supposed to be their support and inspiration and all that, but you can't demand anybody do anything because they don't work for you. Now, if you had an employee, that's a different thing, but even then that doesn't make any sense because you want your employees to want to help, to want to do things. So you need to ask for them to do things in a very, very respectful way. One criticism per offense. The most justified criticism is justified just once. Okay, so if you're clear and you criticize that one thing, you don't need to do it over and over and over again. Okay, that doesn't work. Like a nagging spouse or something keeps on telling you about what they don't like about you. Right? That doesn't work. Finish the criticism on a friendly note. Finish on a note of, we're friends. We've solved our issue, our problem. Let's work together and help each other. Not of the note. You've been told off. Now get on the ball. So this is the most important of rule of the 7 is finish on a friendly note. Say, listen, man, overall, I think that you're going to be amazing. You've done a great job. And there's a few things that you just need to tweak. You need to fix it a little bit. You fix those, and you're going to be a superstar, buddy. I mean, I'm totally confident that you have the ability to do something extraordinary with us. I mean, that's how I would end it, right? Making sure they know I believe in them. I believe that they have, great skill sets and that they could do great if they do certain things. Okay, number 12, how to skillfully thank people. It's not enough for you to feel grateful and appreciative to people. You should show that gratitude and appreciation to the parties that deserve it. This is because it's human nature for people to like and respond to those who show gratitude and appreciation. They respond by giving even more. A lot of times when I'll send an email or a note or something, I most of the time, not always, it depends on the nature of the correspondence, but I'll say love and gratitude, Hector Lamarque, right? That's kind of my thing. I like to put that on notes and messages and stuff, love and gratitude, because those are the two really phenomenal things that we can share with people: our love and our gratitude for who they are, for what they've done, for their friendship, for their business, for their whatever. Okay, you might want to consider doing that in cases where it makes sense. This is because, like I said, for human nature, for people to like and respond to those who show gratitude and appreciation, they respond by giving even more. If you're grateful to people, if you let those people know you're grateful, almost always they will give you more the next time. If you don't show your gratitude, even if you are grateful, but you don't show it, you don't express it, you don't let them know, chances are there won't be a next time, or that you will wind up with less. It's kind of like the same thing. If you have somebody that does anything nice for you, let them know it. You can send them a text, you could send them an email, you could, even better, you can send them a little note, a little thank you note expressing how grateful you are for what they did, all right? Whether it's they did business with you, or they gave you a referral, or they just did something kind, or they invited you to lunch, or anything. It doesn't really matter what the occasion is, okay? However, there's quite an art of saying thank you. When you say thank you, mean it. Be sincere when you thank people. People will know when you're genuinely appreciative. They also know when you're not sincere. Number 2, say it clearly and distinctly. When thanking people, don't mumble, whisper, or slur the words, thank you. No, say thanks as if you're glad you're saying it. Thank you. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate that so much. That was really great of you to do that. That's the way you thank somebody. Look at the people you thank. It means so much more when you look at the people you thank. Look them in the eyes. Anybody worth thanking is worth looking at. Look at them. Thank you. I guarantee you, it's just an amazing difference, okay? Thank people by name. Personalize your thanks by names. It makes a lot of difference to say, thank you, Mary, instead of just thank you. right? Thank you, Mary. Look at the difference. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. It's huge difference, okay? When you use a person's name, you're honoring them. You're making them feel important, which they are, and you're really honoring them. And it really indicates that you truly are grateful and thankful for whatever it is they did for you, okay? Work at thanking people. This means to watch for chances to show your appreciation. I mean, every chance you get, try to develop this habit. Don't try, develop this habit. The average person will thank. The average person will thank for the obvious. The above average person for the not so obvious. Any little thing, right? Any little thing. Really go out of your way to just get in the habit of doing that. As simple as the above rules are, very few techniques are more important in human relations than the ability to properly thank people. There will be a great asset to you. This will be a great asset to you all through your life, in every part of your life, in your marriage, with your children, with your friends, with your family, your extended family, with your business cohorts, right? With your clients, of course, everything, right? How to skillfully, number 13, chapter 13, how to skillfully make a good impression. To a great extent, we control others' opinions of us. We start off as strangers to everyone, and their opinion of us is largely determined by the way we conduct ourselves. So everybody, other than your family that you're basically stuck with, you don't have anything to do with that. You grow up in a family, and that's part of your family. And they're not strangers, right? You've known them from the time you were born, etc. But every friend you have, every client you have, they all were strangers at one point. The way that you cultivate relationships, where you develop friendships, or you develop client bases and stuff, who sometimes become friends, right? The way that happens is somebody needs to be the instigator, the aggressor in the development of those relationships. That person, if you want to grow your business, should always be you. You should always be the instigator because in any friendship, one of the parties was always a little more like, hey, you want to go have some lunch, or you want to go do this, or you want to go do that. There's always somebody that's doing that, all right, that instigates the relationship. In growing a business, you want to be that person, always, all right, all the time. So, knowing this, it behooves all of us to conduct ourselves in such a manner that the effect on other people will be good. If you want people to think well of you, to look up to you, to look upon you with admiration and respect, you must give them the impression that you deserve that rating. This is done primarily by the value you put on yourself. Be proud of yourself, but not conceited. There's a difference between proud of who you are and what you do and all that. You don't need to be conceited to be proud of yourself, of who you are, of what you do, of where you work. Don't apologize for your station in life or for yourself. You are what you are, so handle yourself with pride and respect. So in the beginning, when I was trying to build my business and I wasn't really successful, I didn't go, well, I haven't really done anything yet, but I really want to get this business going. I never apologize for my current situation, right? Somebody says, so how are you doing? I'd say, I'm doing fantastic considering the amount of energy and time I've been able to put into it. And the reason I'm talking to you is because I want to find some really great people, and I think you're one of those people that can help me grow my business. And that's the reason I'm talking to you today. I'm so excited about my business. I love what I do. I'm very proud of what we do for people. The difference you make is amazing, and I want to share that with you, and I want to share the opportunity that might exist for us to do business together and maybe be in business together. Is that okay with you? And that's a much better way to handle that situation, right? So, for example, when people ask you what you do for a living, it is very important how you answer them. Let's assume you sell insurance. Well, look at this, right? This is what I do. That's what we do, right? Somebody else it doesn't matter what the product is, but it's the same response. Let's assume you sell insurance. Which of the following answers is stated with more pride? Oh, I'm just another. What do you do, Hector? Oh, I'm just another insurance peddler. I sell insurance. They couldn't possibly be impressed with you, for you have told them that you aren't worth their being impressed. You told them that you don't see yourself in a very in a very good light. You're basically telling them, why would I want to do business with this chump? He doesn't not even proud of what he does, and he's embarrassed by it. Why would I want to do business with a person like that, right? Or be in business with a person like that? So handle yourself with pride and respect. A different way to answer that same question, hey, listen, I am so fortunate to be associated with one of the finest companies in the country, Primerica, Inc., right, or whatever, or the name is, right? You can well imagine that the difference in value in the other person's mind that the second answer would get over the first answer, all right? Other ways to make a good impression. Number one, be sincere. If you notice, we keep repeating that. Be sincere. It's critical to this whole, for all of this to work, you need to be sincere. Stay away from cheap flattery, empty promises, and meaningless words. To say only things which you mean, all right? Don't ever say something you don't really believe and mean, because people can feel it. There's a different energy about people who say convenient things versus saying things they really mean. Believe those things that you say. Number two, show enthusiasm. This is priceless, a priceless asset that you can acquire by just selling yourself on what you're doing. So like if you're not excited about the fact that you help people become debt-free and financially independent, you make sure they're able to retire, years sooner in much better fashion, and you help them formulate a game plan so they can get their financial house in order so they can really, really, maximize the enjoyment of their life and offer to their family the things that are important to them, and offer them a business opportunity where if they're serious about doing something great, they can make hundreds and thousands, maybe millions of dollars a year. I mean, if you're not excited and enthusiastic about that, then something's wrong. You need to feel great about what you do. You need to sell yourself on whatever it is you're doing. You need to believe it and believe in your cause and believe that what you do is a mission in life and something fantastic to get people to want to do business with you, to want to join you in your business if that's the case. Enthusiasm is contagious. Only after you sell yourself and not until can you sell others. Let me say that one more time. Only after you sell yourself on yourself and what you do can you sell others, and not until you've done that. Number three, don't be over-anxious. In dealing with people, avoid seeming over-anxious. Over-anxiety starts people wondering and gives them doubts. And let me tell you, one of the key ways to reduce anxiety is prepare. The more prepared you are, the more you know what you're doing, the more proficient you are, the more professional you are, the more you know what your product, your service, whatever it is you do, the more confident you are because of the preparation that you've done, the less anxiety you'll exhibit. You will have very little anxiety, okay? People are generally anxious because they aren't confident and they haven't done the work to prepare to be confident, okay? So it's critical that you work your tail off to get to that place where you feel confident. It will reduce your anxiety. People will react to you in a much different way, okay? People have a strong tendency to balk at any action in which they feel you are overly anxious for them doing, right? Their instinct will be to get suspicious or to drive a harder bargain. So when people see you anxious, they're not going to feel comfortable, okay? So you need to, it says here, conceal your anxiety, be an actor, but I think the more important thing to do is to be prepared so that you don't need to conceal your anxiety. I mean, the one thing, I used to get very, very nervous, right, because I'm basically a shy guy. I mean, when I first started the business, I was very, very shy. I'm an introvert by nature. I'm not a big talker, and you wouldn't think that by hearing this, but this is a different subject for me. But typically just chit-chat with people. I'm not the greatest at doing that because I don't feel comfortable doing that, okay? And so I knew for me to feel comfortable, to not be anxious, I need to really over-prepare. And that's what I always did. I over-prepared. I over-studied. When I started learning about, say, cash value, for instance, I read everything I could get my hands on. I researched and researched and researched so I would know that inside and out. When I started marketing mutual funds, I researched, I read everything. I got all the kits from the mutual fund companies we were representing. I read everything they had. I made sure I understood everything, okay? When it had to do with any part of the business, right? I mean, today, like with F&A, I would know that F&A inside and out. I would get that down cold. I would have that down. I would make sure I knew exactly how to set appointments, how to prospect, how to do a great presentation. I'd study my presentation over and over. I'd record it. I'd film it. I'd do whatever I needed to do to get really prepared because I didn't want to feel anxious. It's like going into a test, right? When you all of us have done it, or not, maybe not all of us, but most of us have gone into a test where we didn't really prepare, and so we're starting the test. We're really anxious because we know we didn't study like we should have studied for that exam, and so it makes you anxious. But when you know you've really exhausted every avenue to study the material before you do it, you're a little anxious, but not nearly as anxious as if when you don't study. Okay, so preparation is everything. Okay. Number 4, don't try to build yourself up by running other people down. That doesn't work. Always stand on your own merits. Don't try to make yourself look good by making other people look bad. A lot of times you'll see that, somebody's doing really well in our business and somebody say, oh yeah, but they're this or they're that, and they'll make some snide comment to try to bring that other person down, and maybe they think that elevates them, but it doesn't do that. It makes you look like a chump, okay? Don't do that. Always stand on your own merit. Don't try to make yourself look good by making other people look bad. True progress in life will be determined by your own efforts and worth. You cannot get far advancing over the bodies of others. So you need to do your thing. You need to have your success. Keep the emphasis on yourself. You do that when you stand on your own merits. When you run others down to make yourself look good, the emphasis is on them, not on you. Number 5, don't knock anybody or anything. If you can't say something, probably your mom or dad or your grandparents told you, don't knock anybody. If you can't say something good, say nothing. It's a great adage, okay? It is wrong to knock, but that is not the main reason not to knock. The main reason is that the knocks and knocking boomerang and hurt the knocker himself. Knocking just reveals one's inner self. Be shrewd, be smooth, don't knock other people. Number 14, chapter 14, how to skillfully make a talk. This is good because you're going to, if you're going to be working and doing stuff, at some point you're going to make a talk, right? You're going to do a talk. Here are at least 5 rules. If you observe them, will make you an interesting speaker. They make the difference between interesting talkers and uninteresting ones. Number 1, know what you want to say. In other words, again, be prepared. If you don't know exactly what you want to say, don't get on your feet or open your mouth. Speak with authority, from knowledge, from knowing, from having done it, and with confidence. This can only be if you know what you want to say and you're prepared. Number 2, say it and sit down. Be brief, to the point, and then sit down. Remember, no one was ever criticized for saying too little. If more is desired from you, it will be asked of you. Leave them wanting more. Nothing is worse than listening to somebody talk and repeat themselves and go on and on and on without a point. It's like sitting in a room with somebody scraping a chalkboard. Okay, it's horrible. Quit a winner. Look at the audience while you talk. The importance of this rule is hard to overstate. Anybody worth talking to is worth looking at. This is why speakers who read their speeches rarely go over. Now, the first time I did a speech, right, I was so bad. It was just so embarrassing. And that's what I did. I read the speech and I transposed stuff, and it was a mess. Okay, my wife said, I'm never coming to a meeting again where you're speaking, and because I was so bad. But, you learn. You go on. And now, if I'm going to do a talk, I prepare like crazy, and I make notes. I'll make like bullet points, and then I'll look at that, and that'll prompt my thinking, and I can talk about that topic because I've studied it. I know what I'm talking about. I don't need to have everything written out. I know the material so well that I just need something to prompt my mind to talk on it. And I can expound on that thing for whatever period of time I need to. Talk about what the audience is interested in. It is not what you want to say that's important. It's what the audience wants to hear, what they're looking for. It's kind of like making a sale, right? You find out what they really want. What does the audience really want? So if I was going to go speak to a group that I'm not normally accustomed to speaking to, and like I have a friend who has another business who's asked me, several friends of mine have asked me, would you come speak to my sales force? I've done that on several occasions. And so when I do that, I go, what message are you trying to get across to people? What's important to them? What do they need to know to help them to grow their business or to do better or to help you grow your business? I want to know, and then I can tailor my talk to what it is they need and what they want, not what I think they want. Okay? The audience's interest is paramount, not yours. A surefire method of being a winning and well-liked speaker is tell people what they want to hear and then intermix what they need to hear with what they want to hear. Okay, I mean that's one of the things, because a lot of times people need to hear certain things, but you can intersperse that with things that they want to hear as well. Number 5, don't try to make a speech. Don't try to orate. There's very few people that have the ability to orate. Okay, most people don't have that. Make a talk instead. Be natural. Be yourself. You don't need to be something you're not. You know, people are going to easily see if you're being a phony up there or you're being yourself. If you know your material and you know it well and you focus on the material and the message that you're putting across, people will respond to it. Okay, they'll like that. And by the way, when you first begin speaking to people, you're not going to be that good. The more you do it, the better you get, the more comfortable you get with it, and the more work you do to master your material, the better you're going to be as well. So when you really know what you're talking about, you're going to come across like an authoritative person that people, an expert, people that people should listen to. Just say what you have to say and say it naturally, the way you would say it. You don't need to be another person. You might see somebody and they're super charismatic. And one of the things I used to see in our business is lots of charismatic speakers, right? I'm not one of those charismatic speakers. I'm a teacher. I'm a trainer. I've never tried to be a charismatic speaker. I've always really worked at teaching people and giving people food that they can use to go grow themselves and grow their business. That's the point of this call every Tuesday. That's the point of this material I'm going over. This is information. This is not motivation. This is information, tools that you can use to enhance you and your business to allow you to grow at a faster pace, to retain more people. Everything I'm doing is geared towards that end, is to equip you to be more successful, not to motivate you, because the bottom line is if you aren't motivated by whatever desires you have, or if you have a family, to improve the quality of your family's life, the options they have, the things that they can do, the places they can go, the schools they can go to, quality of life, living in a nice home, you know, being able to take nice vacations, being able to help other people through charitable causes and all that, if that doesn't motivate you, there's nothing I can do to motivate you. So I'd rather just teach people who are motivated. I've always done that. It's much, much easier to go that route, okay? 15, some final thoughts. This is the end of the book. Knowledge in itself is of no value. It is the use of knowledge that makes it valuable. Putting this thought another way, life does not pay off for you on what you can do. Life pays off for you on what you do. I sent a text out yesterday with this quote here. Obviously, I didn't have enough room to put Les Giblin's name there, but this is his quote. This knowledge is your key to a better life. He is absolutely right. More friends, more success, and more happiness. Put this knowledge to work for you and your family now. So like I said last week, if I were you and I was really trying to be super successful, I probably would kind of reread this book every day for 21 days. It might seem like, really? That's a lot. That's kind of obsessive, isn't it? Well, I don't think so, because the contents of these 15 little chapters, and obviously it took me, almost 2 hours, hour and a half to share this information with you on a call, but I was also expounding on it and sharing my own insights and that sort of thing, so it takes longer. But you could probably get to the point where you could read this material in 20 or 30 minutes, and you could do this every morning. Make it a ritual for 21 days, because anything you do for 21 days becomes a habit. And so what I want for you, right, because this will help you to be to attract more people, positive people into your life, to grow your business, to make more sales, to recruit more people, to retain more people, to have better quality relationships with your friends and your family and your spouse, and just make your overall quality of life much, much better, enhance it in an amazing way. When you master this material, your life will change radically. It really, really will. And so this is something that I would highly recommend that you do. Now, I'm saying that. I'm also saying that knowing that very, very, very few of you will actually do that. But the very few of you that will do it, let me know. Okay, let me know your experience. Let me know what kind of reactions you're getting, because I know they're going to be amazing. I know your life's going to change. I know everything's going to get better for you. I know it. because I know that's happened to me. So let me know about that, and I look forward to watching your careers, just skyrocket and take off, and amazing things begin to happen for you and your family as you do this, because it's just one mother. I mean, there's three things, and I always say there's two things, but there's really, I think, I was talking about this with Jan earlier. I said there's three things that really distinguish the truly, truly successful from, everybody else who's mediocre and also ran. And there's three characteristics you must develop. These are non-negotiable. You must develop. And if you don't have them, you can develop them, okay? Number one is work ethic. You must have amazing work ethic to be successful. I don't care what you do, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business person, whether you're in politics, whether you're in the entertainment business, it doesn't matter. You have to have amazing work ethic to rise to the top. Number two, you have to have fabulous, incredible self-discipline to get yourself to do the things that you don't obviously feel like doing all the time. The difference between somebody succeeding in a huge way is the discipline to do what you must do, even though you don't feel like doing it. 50%, good 50% of what I've had to do in Primerica to be successful, I did not want to do. Okay, I did not want to prospect. I didn't want to make calls to people I didn't know. I didn't want to take new recruits out in the field who I didn't even know, and go see people I didn't know and try to get them involved in products and services in our business when I didn't know them, and there's always a chance to be rejected. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I mean, I didn't want to put on my first Fast Start alone. I didn't want to do my first big event, where I took over a hotel and did a weekend event. I didn't want to do a lot of things that I had to do, right, in order to be successful. So you have to have self-discipline, because a lot of what you need to do to succeed, you're not going to want to do, right? So you have a choice. You can be comfortable or you can be successful. You can't be both, because success and comfort are oil, like oil and water. They don't mix. You can't have both, at least in the beginning, okay? At least for sure in the beginning of your careers. And then lastly, you need to have skill with people. You must have skill with people. If you don't have skill with people, you cannot get people to help you with your mission, okay? You must have skill with people. It's critical to get things done, but it's also critical to have a great quality of life. Skill with People by Les Giblin. You can get it at HectorLamarque.com. It's $5. It'll be the best $5 you ever invested. I guarantee you, if you are really, really, really smart, you'll get all your key people to read this book as well, because a lot of the issues that you're having in your business with your people is because they lack awareness in this area. This might wake them up and go, oh my God, look what I've been doing wrong all along. And a lot of times you want to talk to people, you want to help them to do better and be better, and you don't know how to go about it. If they actually read this book and you actually talked about it, you would know at least they got the information. Now they're aware. If they keep doing those crazy things that they do, then that's on them. You don't need to worry about that. But I guarantee you people are going to be better for it, and you're going to see a big difference in it. Okay, so we'll talk to you next time.